Imagine working for a company where every team and a lot of the members in all the teams around the business, from the junior roles to more senior non-finance managers and directors, really understand the financial underpinnings of your business. And not only that, but you have also increased the visibility within the business as well. This is what I want to discuss today. Interesting strategy that you could implement in your business next week. My name's Alysha Randall. I'm a fractional CFO for Fast Growth Consulting, and I also train new and aspiring CFOs within startups and scale-ups. And I wrote a book on that, Financial Leadership Fundamentals, How to Become a CFO Within a Startup or Scale-Up. So if that sounds interesting to you, then please do click on the subscribe button below. So increased knowledge around the business and visibility, you ask? Then you might want to consider introducing the concept of lunch and learn sessions. So these are really aimed at enhancing financial literacy across your startup team. Not only does this benefit the company, but as I mentioned, your visibility increases and it aligns well with training for becoming a CFO. So a CFO or a C-suite leader across the business is usually well known. Everybody knows who is a C-suite, even when the company gets bigger and bigger. So being visible within the business and not just sitting within the finance department or sitting at home, and then when you do come in, just sitting with the finance department, doesn't quite work if you want to be a finance leader. So visibility is really important. But is also financial literacy across the business. It's not only going to help the business, but it's also going to help you and your finance function. If people understand finance a bit better, then you may find that cooperation with what you're trying to achieve around the business is much higher if people understand what you're trying to do. So the concept of lunch and learn. So if you have never heard of this before, essentially lunch and learn sessions are, I would say, informal kind of training events. They usually last about 30 minutes plus a Q&A where team members from various departments gather to learn about a topic while having lunch, essentially. So if you don't have a lunch and learn kind of setup in your business, I usually find if you have a HR team that has a very strong L&D, so learning and development agenda, then setting up lunch and learn sessions is a really good way of introducing education to the business, whereby anyone within the business can do a little bit of training and get some knowledge. So either you have this set up already and you can put your hand up and be part of it, or you don't have anything like this at all and you just have to do that on your own. That's totally fine. I have certainly worked with businesses before where there is no formal lunch and learn process. All I do is I just announce it within the all hands, then potentially Slack everyone and email everyone. Before doing that, I often would chat to department heads. Sometimes it's useful to have department by department training sessions, and then you can really tailor it. Or you just encourage the department heads the benefit of having this lunch and learn agenda, and so they can really encourage their team to sign up. So I would definitely do that piece of work first so that you're not setting up all of these lunch and learn sessions and then nobody turns up. But essentially, these lunch and learns are relaxed setting, and it's a real perfect environment for breaking down complex subjects like finance into really digestible and engaging sessions. So for startups, this can be a game changer in really fostering a financially aware culture, particularly if everyone's quite young or new to the corporate environment or new in their career and they haven't really had much exposure to finance because they don't sit in finance. So why does financial literacy matter? So it's not just for finance professionals. If you're a finance leader, you absolutely know this, and can give many reasons as to why you would like people to be more financially literate. But if you haven't really worked in a finance leadership role for long, then what I can say is that when team members really understand financial concepts, they can see the bigger picture of how their work impacts the business. So this understanding is quite important for non-finance managers, particularly, and directors who make decisions affecting the company's financial health. And it really promotes a sense of ownership and responsibility, which again, of course, is very important in all environments, but in particular in a startup environment. So if you are thinking of putting together a lunch and learn session for non-finance people, then some content ideas. So a session can cover topics ranging from, say, basic financial terms to maybe some more advanced concepts. So they can include the understanding of financial statements, so teaching how to read and interpret balance sheets, income statements, cash flow statements, as you can use the business's financial statements as an example and go through a working example. It's much easier to understand and explain if you do that, and it's also much more engaging. Budgeting and forecasting, so explaining the process and its impact on the business, so how this impacts the entire business and not just each individual department. Financial ratios and KPIs, so discussing key metrics that non-finance teams can track and influence. It's also a good idea to introduce the financial KPIs that assess the whole business so that they can see maybe what the board is interested in, what the leadership team really focuses on, what the strategic goals are and how these KPIs fit into that, and just giving that overall picture. Just a small caveat, you do need to be mindful just to keep any confidential information outside these sessions, and that any real data is perhaps 6 to 24 months old, and it's not all bad news. So you want to really encourage the team, not have them walking away thinking everything is doom and gloom. So just be quite choosy on the financial data that you choose to share in these situations. You could also cherry pick a good story and a negative story and just show that, obviously with business you do have peaks and troughs. But also if you're in a situation where the current business is not performing so well, you may not necessarily just want to focus on the negativity. It doesn't help with motivation. So the benefits of financial trading is really enhanced decision making. So employees gain the knowledge to make informed decisions, understanding their ripple effects on the company's financial health, and they also may have a better idea of what the leadership team are trying to achieve, which I think is really important when the leadership team are really focused on hitting those strategic and operational goals. If the team understands what they do and how that feeds into the overall business performance, then you're more likely to get an increase in understanding and potentially motivation. So that therefore that does increase engagement as well. So understanding how one's role fits into the broader business context can really boost motivation and job satisfaction. And hopefully they can see how their department and role affects that bigger picture. Then is better communication. So it bridges the gap between finance and non-finance team, and that kind of helps a more effective communication across departments. And this is incredibly important for you and your team who are doing business partnering and developing relationships. So if you want to look more into business partnering and understand that whole framework and dynamic, I'll leave a link above and below for that. So to ensure the effectiveness of your finance and non-finance sessions, there are some additional strategies that you may want to think about. The first one is to tailor the content. So understanding the background of your audience. For example, finance for non-finance manager sessions should be structured differently from those aimed at potential CFOs. So begin with the basics and then gradually build up to more complex concepts. If you have larger teams, you could invite, for example, one department at a time, as I mentioned, and then you can demonstrate how their roles really feed into the overall picture. I distinctly remember one of the very first lunch and learn sessions that I did. It was for the sales team. And when we were going through the P&L, I didn't bother with balance sheet and cash flow, but we just went through the P&L and the key KPIs, or KPIs, I should say. And what I did is I used what their role is very much and showed how it comes out into the P&L. So I talked about, the invoicing, collecting cash, refunds, the different elements of the sales funnel. And then they really got a good understanding of everything. The commissions, how we need to know when things are confirmed, we would accrue commission so that matches the revenue, all these different things. And there's a lot of pennies that dropped actually in that session. A lot of really interesting conversation and a lot of questions, and everyone was really engaged. So actually, I do prefer departmental conversations. Potentially, the simple slides that I would put together would be exactly the same for every department, but I would talk through how their role and their department really feeds into the overall picture. Obviously, using real world examples. So, as mentioned, utilize those real life scenarios or even sometimes case studies that are relevant to your startup. This makes the learning process really relatable and practical, and helping team members connect the dots between theory and the real world. So, ideally, you do want to talk in real world most of the time rather than just an accounting lecture, for example. Engaging the finance team members. So you can involve your finance team in conducting these sessions if you have a finance team. So this not only ensures the information is accurate, but also helps build rapport between the different departments. And it's also a really good way of developing your more junior members of the team, both in communication and presentational skills and potentially confidence. I have before brought some of the finance function into the lunch and learn, and then I would do the initial presentation because they were a bit too nervous to do that. But then when the questions came, I would encourage my team member to answer the questions, particularly when I obviously knew that they knew the answers. So we would have that conversation earlier, and then if they weren't quite sure on how to answer, they would just throw it back to me, and it was not a problem. But it was a very good way of encouraging them to step out of their comfort zone. And then measuring impact, so gathering feedback and assess the effectiveness of these sessions would really help you refine your future sessions and ensure that they do remain relevant and engaging. As I mentioned, leadership buy-in is also quite critical for the success of this initiative, because as a leader, actively participating in and promoting these sessions demonstrates a real commitment to fostering a literate culture. So encouraging open discussions about financial matters, recognizing team who really apply their learnings effectively can really further reinforce the value of these sessions. And these, as I mentioned, these sessions also boost your visibility around the business, which is really important. So investing in financial literacy trainings can really help you long term. And the benefits for the startups are quite numerous. The first one is it cultivates a real proactive workforce. So employees who really understand financial implications are much more likely to be proactive and contribute to the company's overall health. And I think this is definitely one of the biggest takeaways of these sessions. So I can't imagine a C-suite who wouldn't be really supportive of this initiative. It also facilitates scalability. So as your business grows, having a team really well versed in financial management can really ease the scaling process. And then finally, it does attract talent. So a culture that values continuous learning and development can attract high caliber professionals, but also can retain professionals that are really eager to learn. If you're able to offer them some learning and education and they're able to understand their role better, they're potentially more likely to stick around a bit longer rather than just looking for something new within 12 months. So by implementing lunch and learn sessions and focusing on finance for non-finance people, you're not only educating your team, but you're also equipping them to play a more significant role in your startup success story. So if you want to be a strategic CFO, then 3 steps for you. The first one is to click on the subscribe button below. I do a video every single Thursday, and so hopefully you get notified for that when a new video is up. Number 2 is to take a look at the Financial Leadership Fundamentals book. I wrote at the end of every single chapter a list of actions that you can implement in your role immediately, even if you're at a more managerial level. And number 3 is to have a look at our FLF course, where we do Q&A sessions with myself every single month, and we talk about how you can implement some of the strategies that you've learned into your role. So thanks so much for watching. I know this is a bit of a weird one, but I do find that lunch and learn sessions are really important for startups and scale-ups. So hopefully you can implement something in the future. And do let me know in the comments below if you have managed to do a lunch and learn session within your company. What worked, what didn't work. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in next week's video. Cheers.